Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for inviting me to your congregational meeting today. I was asking how many people were going to come. I was told that only 2 people will come. So I was going to give a class for 2 people. Now I see there are many of you here.
We are expecting around 60 to 70 devotees.
Huh?
60 to 70 devotees we are expecting today.
Really?
70 years.
How are they going to fit in? Anyway, come closer so that those who are coming, they have some room. So in that case, I was thinking maybe the better thing to do would be to tell you the story of how I became a devotee. Yeah?
Yes, Maharaj.
Did you like it?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. It's an interesting story, actually. So you have to try to imagine me as a hippie. Long hair, mustache and beard. In those days, we hippies, we thought we were God. If we're not God already, we soon will be God. So we had our own special music which we would play and listen to. One day I was at my parents' house because I had left home and I was living separately from the parents. In England, when you're 16 years old, the parents open the door and they say, okay, you can go. Not like in India. So I was living separately, and then I would come sometimes to meet the parents, and especially on the day where there was a special television program which was highlighting the top charts, pop music charts, and from 10 to 1. So I was waiting for number 1. Who was number 1 this week? And I got a big surprise because who was introduced were the devotees of Krishna. So George Harrison, she had taken the devotees of London to the studio. And in the studio, I remember you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Oh,
Give him a
thank
chair. This is your chair.
Oh, thank you.
I knew you were coming, so we had a chair ready for you.
That's good for my blessings.
No, Hare Krishna.
I didn't forget. But
Please. Yes, give him a garland. That's very kind of you.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Yeah, and this mantra was released on the Apple label, the Beatles label, and immediately it went to number one. If there's anything the Beatles do,
Krishna.
it was always best. So I was there waiting for number one, and then they introduced the devotees, and they had all these funny, strange instruments, you know, harmonium, cartels, and mridangam. And I thought this must be a joke. But it was no joke. They were in number one for 4 weeks in a row. And I had to tolerate the Hare Krishna mantra for 4 weeks. But little did I know that a seed was being planted in my heart. Krishna knew I would be a devotee. And this is how he arranges everything. He's got to plant that seed, the Bhaktilata seed. Anyway, in London, George contacted the temple and said, look, our first single has been successful. Now we must make an album. So the devotees from the temple went to the Apple studios and they produced an album, many songs. And one of the songs we listen to every morning in the temple, Govinda, Hari Purusha, Tam Bhajami, Govinda, Hari Purusha, Tam Bhajami. So then that was produced. And I was in my friend's house, hippie friend's house one night. And as I was leaving the house, I noticed in the kitchen, on the kitchen table, there was this album. And I asked my friend, what is this album? Because it was an interesting picture on the front. There was Radha Krishna deities on the front. And he said, oh, someone gave it to me. You can have it if you like. Well, in England, if you get something free, you immediately take it. I took it home and I played and I played and I played and I played. One day I realized I was not playing anything other than this album. It was very strange. One year later, for some reason, I was thinking of going to London to get a job there. You have to understand, the place where I was brought up was 250 miles away, in Plymouth. So I went to London and I got a job cleaning rich people's homes. And one of the homes that I was asked to go to regularly was Spike Milligan's home. You may not know Spike Milligan, but in England he's very well known. He's a comedian. I don't know if he's still alive. But anyway, in those days, I would come to their house and especially speak with his wife, because his wife would tell me about their trips to India. And then a little later, a little while after meeting with Spike Milligan's wife, I saw the devotees on the Oxford Street. Now you have to understand, in those days, the devotees didn't buy their dhotis and kurtas and saris from Lloyd Bazaar. They would buy the material from Marks and Spencer's and make their own saris. And I don't even think they made kurtas. It was just something they wrapped around them somehow. Anyway, my first impression was, who are these people? They looked quite strange. But it didn't click, about that they were the Hare Krishnas that I'd listened to on the television. And they were coming on the street every day, and I was wondering, well, they must have a message. There must be a message. Why they come on the street every day? And then one day I met a devotee and he gave me a magazine and an invitation to the temple Sunday love feast. So I looked at the magazine and I saw the pictures of the devotees and they looked really happy. And I'd never seen that before, such happy people. And I thought, well, I will go to the love feast. I will go. It's free anyway. So one Sunday I came to the Krishna temple, and it was called Very Place Street, Very Place Temple. And I remember when I opened the door to the temple from the street, there was this overwhelming atmosphere hit me right in the face. It was an atmosphere that I'd never experienced before. There was the smell of incense. There was the smell of food being cooked in ghee. There was, the atmosphere was just like, ooh. I'd been taking LSD, and that was, whoa, but this was even whoa. Anyway, there was a kirtan and there was a class. The class I could not understand. It was way above my head. Something about you're not this body, you're spirit, soul. It's like the first thing we hear, isn't it? What? What are you talking about? So I didn't really understand very much what was going on. But there was one thing I did understand, and that was the Sunday feast. I never tasted anything like it. I can even tell you what was on the plate. We had two plates, one sweet plate and one salty plate. So if I can remember correctly. On the salty plate, there were sabji, koftas, pakoras, raita, papadum, a sweet plate, halva, laddu, shrikon, and and a nectar drink. Did I say puris too?
No.
Puris. How you can, nowadays they don't use ghee, it's a shame. If you could taste these puris cooked in ghee. Oh. Anyway, needless to say, when I finished the feast, I walked away from the temple like a duck. And I was thinking, well, they've invited me back next week, I will come for sure. And I did. I was coming every Sunday, mainly because of the feast. And then one day, a devotee came to me and he said, oh, you like our food? I said, yeah, it's very nice. I said, why don't you come for lunch every day too? I said, oh, why not? If you say so. But I didn't know the secret of eating. For me, it was just good food, you see. And I was eating just like, only like that, eating prasad for 3 months. And this is true what I'm going to tell you now, and it's the proof of the power of the prasad. One day I was on top of a double-decker bus. In London they have bottom deck and top deck. I was at the top. There was no one else there. And I was just minding my own business, looking out of the window. And then suddenly, I was absolutely surprised at what was happening to me. I didn't think about anything like this, it just came. And all evening I was chanting. The next day I went back to the temple and I asked the devotees, I have one problem. They said, what's your problem? I said, I keep chanting your mantra and I can't stop. And one boy laughed. He said, do you know what you've been eating the last 3 months? Your food. The prasad is Krishna, Krishna is prasad. He said, you've eaten so much prasad that your tongue has been purified. And now Krishna is dancing on your tongue to induce you to chant. You probably have your own story, how you started to chant. It's very mystical. Because the holy name comes from the spiritual world. It is not an ordinary mantra. And the holy name is a person, it's Krishna himself. And the holy name is independent. Independent means if someone is ready the holy name will act. And I remember when I was taking drugs that I didn't really like doing it. In fact, I was just following all the other hippies. They're doing it, so I'll do it. When I started chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, within 2 weeks I gave up all these bad things. Drugs, cigarettes, meat, finished. Just like that. Maha Mantra Ki. So powerful. We know that on New Year's Eve people make resolutions. Nah, that's it. That's it. No more cigarettes. How many days does it last? Where they come back again to the cigarettes. You need some higher taste. This is the secret of bhakti. It gives a higher taste so that you can easily give up this lower taste. The story goes on. Another devotee came to me one day. I was visiting the temple regularly. And he asked me, what do you want to do with your life? I said, well, I want to be like you. I would like to be like you. You are very happy people. I want to be happy. I want to be like you. Only one thing, I have one more desire. And he asked me, what is your desire? I want to go to India to see if this is true. He said to me, you don't need to go to India. India's come to you. Why do you want to go to India? I said, I'm sorry, but I've got to do this. It's the last thing I've got to do before I join the temple. Now the problem, of course, is that there was no problem in traveling, because in those days you could hitchhike easily down to Istanbul. I hitchhiked from London to Istanbul. And then from Istanbul there are a lot of hippies there, and some of them have buses and some of them have vans. And you could get and ride. Well, you hitchhike too, even in those days you could go through Iran, Turkey, Iran. It was easy.
On bus, Maharaj.
What's that?
It was on a bus.
You can hitchhike too in those days. Anyway, I got as far as Afghanistan. I was in Kandahar. What's the problem? What's the problem?
Perhaps the sound needs to be increased actually for the back.
You cannot hear me? Cannot hear?
If you just keep it little near,
Okay.
I will raise it.
Yeah. I'm English, we joke about different things. Okay, what was I? Kandahar. The problem was I was mixing with hippies again, and I started again taking drugs. One day I was looking out of the window in this hotel, and I saw these big rats running around. Trying to find some food. And immediately the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita hit me right in the face. It was like a slap in the face. if you don't be careful, you could become a rat in your next life. Get back to London and join the temple. It was like that. I was thinking, if I went to India, what would I learn with all these cities? Hare Krishna. And I realized I was in serious trouble. I was in serious trouble. So I turned around and went back overland. I was so close to India. So close. But yet at the same time so far away. So then, on my way back to India, to London, I stopped in Munich. I hadn't met devotees for 3 months. I hadn't taken prasadam for 3 months. And I was thinking, let me get off the train in Munich. In Munich, there must be some devotees here. So I got off the train and I went to the town center. And suddenly I heard, I went to the center, square. There they were, chanting and dancing. I came running up and I bowed right on the floor. Yeah, I still had my hair, beard, mustache. They were looking at me, who's this on the floor? And I got up, I said, I'm back to David. Oh, back to David? Yes, I'm from London. Well, then you better come back with us. They took me to their storefront. And in their storefront, there was a simple place they were living. And every day they were going off distributing magazines. So the first morning, at breakfast time, I have to say, first of all, that in that Harinam, there were 3 persons who are today's sannyasis. Satyanandana Swami, who was a brahmachari, and Bhaktivedanta Swami, who was Bhakti, he was Suchandra was a 3rd one. I don't remember his name now. In South America. So, breakfast in the morning, there was breakfast, and they were serving porridge to everyone. But Satyanandana Brahmachari, he was given a pot of halava. And I was looking at this halava. My tongue was just like... And I asked the devotee next to me, I said, how come he's got halava and we only have porridge? And they said, well, he distributed the most magazines yesterday. I said, well, is he going to share some of the halava? No, you don't share your pot of halava. It's for you. Anyway, I eventually got some Mahaprasad, so I was okay. But it was an interesting experience. experienced being with these devotees, young devotees, pioneers of the German Yatra. I stayed with them for 1 week, and then one party was going to go to Hamburg from Munich. And they asked me if I wanted to come with them because I could go from Hamburg to London from there. So I agreed. And they said they were going to stop in Frankfurt to distribute some books and magazines. I said, that's okay. So when we arrived, they even asked me if I wanted to go on the street too. So I said, well, I'm not really a representative. You know, I had my jeans and long hair. They said, okay, you'll put your hair back. We'll give you a dhoti. And we'll see how you look. We'll judge to see how you look. I said, well, you look okay. Here's the magazines. You can go and try. So there I was on the street. And amazingly, this is just, even I remember it so clearly today, another one of those unusual things that happen to devotees. Suddenly, coming down the street, one girl, what's your problem? Stay attentive. Look at me. I look at you, you look at me. This girl, I knew she was visiting London Temple at the same time I was from Germany. And we would speak a lot together, and exchanging experiences. And she saw me, she said, Dr. Dave, you've become a Hare Krishna. She said, wow, that's wonderful. She said, unfortunately, I'm going the other direction. She was all dressed up in fashion clothes. And she said, I don't think I'm ready. But I'm very happy to see that you're doing it. She gave her blessings. Yeah, so we got to Hamburg, and then the temple president's wife, she saw that I liked prasad. So every day she bribed me. She wanted to get my hair off, you know. So she would make this pineapple bread, which was so nice, it was just heavenly. And she would ask me, back to Dave, do you want some pineapple bread today? I said, yeah. She said, okay, all right. So I agreed, and she was cutting every day this much. And see, in those days, the temple president's wife, they were the ones that looked after the brahmacharis. Yeah. That was the system in those days. So she was very keen to make me a devotee. She wanted to put me on the fast track, so to speak. Anyway, she cut off a lot, and she even had the beard off and mustache off. And then she was going to shave me up one day. And I said to her, well, look, I've got to go and see my parents when I get to England, and I don't want to surprise them too much. So she said, it's okay, you've done very well, and here's your pineapple bread. So to London, and I went to my hometown, and I stayed with some hippies that I knew. They gave me one room. But I was thinking that I must engage in some service while I'm with these people. Otherwise I'll get into trouble again. So what I decided to do was paint this picture of the Kesava Krishna that was on the Sri Ishopanishad. You know that pink one?
Yes, yes.
And I bought some canvas, I bought some paint and brushes, and I started painting. And that's how I engaged myself for around 5 or 6 days. I went to see my parents. I told them that I'm going to become a Hare Krishna. My mother said, "Why don't you join the Salvation Army?" You know Salvation Army? Maybe you don't have Salvation Army here in England. It's another Christian religion.
They have it.
Leger des Heils.
Leger des Heils in Dutch.
Oh, okay. How do you say?
Leger des Heils.
Legers des Hell. Rather quickly go to hell, right? Okay. My father said, "Well, at least you got your hair cut." So he was happy. He didn't know what I was going to do, but he was happy my hair was cut. Yeah. So then I went to the temple, and I brought my painting with me, and the devotees immediately took the painting and put it up on the prasadam wall where they took prasadam. It was there for many months. It was the first thing I painted. I think it was divinely inspired. And that's how I became a devotee. A long journey, a roundabout way. Actually, I missed out one part. Because before I went to Afghanistan, I was visiting the temple. It was in the very beginning, you know, when I came in the very beginning. And one day one devotee was preaching to me about Krishna consciousness. And I already told you in those days, you know, we were hippies and we thought that if we're not God already, we soon would be. Anyway, at one point, this devotee, he did actually bow down to my feet. And I was thinking, wow, he really understands me. But when he got up, he said, "Oh, did you see my Guru Maharaj? Prabhupada was in the temple, and he was in the first floor, and he just walked across the landing to the bathroom, I think it was. He was bowing to his guru, not me." I was a little disappointed about that. But he said, "You can come tonight." And he's giving a class at 7 o'clock. No, 7:30. And then I came about 8 o'clock. I was late. When I opened the door to the temple, Prabhupada was sitting on this side. I guess it was about the same size as this room. Prabhupada was there and the deities were over here. So I was looking and I decided to go right over there. And right next to the deities, there was only one rope. And I was looking at Prabhupada. Now, we hippies, we had one special line that we believed strongly. Shall I tell you what it was?
Yes,
Anyone over 30 years, don't listen to them. Because it was a materialistic society. And only us young people had the brain to say no. We will have our own revolution. We will do all the things better. So I was thinking like that. I was thinking Prabhupada, you know, he's an elderly man, why are all these young people listening to him? And then suddenly, devotees started looking back in my direction. Like looking at me like this. I was thinking, what are they looking at me for? And this went on for quite some time. And I understood what the problem was. You want to know what the problem was?
yes.
I hadn't changed my socks in 8 or 9 days. You know, the head Bajari, she got up and she didn't light one stick, she had a bunch of sticks. She lit the whole bunch and offered to the deities. Just to counteract the smell of my food. Yeah. And when Prabhupada finished his class, he went up to his room. And one devotee came up to me. Said, do you want to come back here again? I said, why not? Can you please change your socks before you? So this is the first instruction I had. They say cleanliness is next to godliness, right? If you want to be godly, you must be clean. So since that day, I've had clean socks. You can smell it if you like. So, Krishna consciousness is step by step. There's a wonderful thing within Bhakti. It's not a mechanical system, it's a spiritual system. And you can make progress very, very quickly. If you follow the acharyas and associate with the devotees and, take the knowledge from Bhagavad Gita and from Bhagavatam, then it's an automatic change. It's like a car, one of these cars which are automatic. You put it in one place and it changes gear automatically. You don't have to do anything. So I've been now practicing 50 years. What do you think? Do I look okay? What do you think? Tell me. What do you see in me?
You've been inspired, Maharaj.
I'm inspired, okay.
Happy?
Happy? Wow, that's a good one. Happy?
Your playfulness?
Huh?
Your playfulness?
Play.
Playful?
Playful or faithful?
Play.
Playful.
Playful. I love joking around. Yes, anything else?
Calmness.
calm, Shanti. My name is Dhirasanta. Shanti, Dhirasanta. Sober and peaceful. Of course, I was not before, but maybe I am a little now. Anything else? What do you think? Open heart, mind.
Footy.
And your faith in the holy name.
Faith in the holy name. I'm going to show you one card trick, okay? So this is the Queen of Vrindavan. Can you see? Queen of Vrindavan.
Yes.
And these are anartas. 9 anartas. Okay. I'm going to put the Queen of Vrindavan down here. And these 9 anartas, big problem, right?
Yes.
We all come to Krishna consciousness with big, heavy loads like this. We're carrying this heavy load of anartas. So let's put the 9 anartas on top of the Queen of Vrindavan. And what's the secret mantra? Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
I think your chanting is quite pure and it should have gotten rid of those 9 anartas. Sometimes it doesn't work though. But if the chanting is pure, it works every time. Shall we see, or do you want to do it one more time?
One more time.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Your chanting is very good. Now what happened to those 9 anartas? Well, Radharani's taken them away. Frying them away. You want to give me a clap for that? And another thing that happens to us when we become devotees. So we come, this is blue. Blue represents tamas, Red represents
Rajas.
Rajas. And we need to be transcendental, right? What's the next one up? Huh?
Sattva.
Goodness. Chant Hare Krishna. What's after Sattvic Guna? Sattvic Guna.
We should set.
Chant. The process works because I'm a living proof of this process. 50 years of practice, and if it worked for me, it will work for you. I was the biggest dog out there. You're all saintly persons who are coming already from India. You know, there was one nice pastime, a Prabhupada pastime, I'll tell you before I finish. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Prabhupada was in Los Angeles, and he was with a group of persons in his room, you know, American boys. And he asked them, how do you know Krishna is God? That was Prabhupada's question. How do you know Krishna is God? So one devotee put up his hand, he said, Prabhupada, because Krishna says so in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Prabhupada said, no. You know Krishna is God because when you serve him, you become happy. So Guru Das, he was Prabhupada's servant at the time. 1 year later, he was still Prabhupada's servant. And this was in Bombay. Prabhupada asked the same question. How do you know Krishna is God? And no one could answer. And Guru Das said, Prabhupada, you know Krishna is God because when you serve him, you become happy. Prabhupada said, no. You know Krishna is God because he says so in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, why did he say two different things in two different places? Very simple. In India, everyone's already happy. It's only us Westerners we're not happy until we become connect with Krishna. We don't even know what happiness is. India, as soon as you get off the plane, everything's buzzing,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
And you think, oh, at last I've come to some, sanity. Because the rest is insane. India is the best place. The best of everything comes from India. Where does the mangoes come from? Where does the best silk come from? Say Bharat. Where does the best nut come from? The cashew nut. Bharat. Where does the the holy downs come from? What are they? Vrindavan.
Mayapur, Jagannathpuri, Dwarka, Ayodhya, Gangotri, Yamuna, Kedarnath.
So many.
Where does the best holy rivers come from? Where does the best food come from? Come on.
Endless.
Really, puri, sabji, samosa. So, just to finish, I have come today on behalf of the British government to say sorry to you all. We were wrong about you, Indian people. You know the history? They went to India and destroyed the faith of Vedic culture. We thought that we were better, our knowledge was better. But today, I, Dhirasanta Goswami, we were wrong. The highest culture is the Vedic culture. The highest religion is Sanatana. The best of everything comes from India. Don't leave your roots. Stay there. We have the best of everything. The best goal too. What's the best goal? Go look at Vrindavan. Spiritual world. The best in any other religion is heaven, that you can go to heaven, but heaven is not so special. We don't just go to heaven. We go to the spiritual world where Krishna is dancing and playing with the gopis, gopis. Well, the highest of everything, the best of everything comes from India. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Dhirasanta Goswami ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Okay.